Welcome to the Dropship Unlocked Podcast, the show that unlocks the secrets of building a successful e-commerce business using the high-ticket dropshipping model. I'm Lewis Smith, the founder of Dropship Unlocked, and with me today is James Eardley, our client success coach.
That's right. We're here to share everything we know about high-ticket dropshipping, and this isn't your average e-commerce business model. We've been able to build 6- and 7-figure businesses using this approach, and we want to help you to do the same.
Both our businesses and now this podcast were born out of our desires to leave behind the corporate 9-to-5 world. So perhaps you're feeling tired of the corporate grind. You might have a burning desire to create something of your own and achieve financial freedom.
If so, then this podcast is for you. We'll be sharing everything we know about building a profitable e-commerce business using a unique dropshipping model, which isn't what you might be thinking when you hear the word dropshipping, and we're excited to help you to apply it to achieve financial and time freedom.
So you might be thinking, why listen to us? Well, James and I are both experienced entrepreneurs who've built successful e-commerce businesses using the high-ticket dropshipping model.
That's right. We both run 6- and 7-figure dropshipping businesses, and we've learned a lot along the way. We've made our fair share of mistakes, as you can imagine, and faced numerous challenges, but we've also experienced the incredible rewards that come with building a successful business.
Absolutely. And that's why we decided to create this podcast. We want to share our knowledge and experience with aspiring business owners who are looking to create their own online businesses. We know how difficult it can be to navigate the world of e-commerce, and we just want to help make the process easier for you.
That's right. We've been through the ups and downs of running an e-commerce business, and we know what it takes to succeed. So we want to pass on our knowledge and insights to you so that you can avoid the mistakes that we made and achieve success much faster.
We're excited to share everything we know about dropshipping with you, and we really hope you'll join us on this journey. So why have we started this podcast? Well, when I first started building my business, I wished that a resource like this was available to me. I wanted to hear from people who had been there and achieved what I was setting out to do so that I could surround myself with that success.
Similarly for me as well, it's similar, Lewis. When I first started out, I had this deep desire within me to grow my own business, and I was hungry to find out how I could do this. So I had this energy that I've talked about before, and I wanted to push that into growing my own business. And it was such a strong desire that I was hungry, just searching everywhere for the information that I needed. And specific information, which we're going to provide to you with this podcast, is exactly what I was searching for. Because I found it particularly difficult to get around entrepreneurs. I don't have any in my immediate family, and also none of my friends were taking this path. So the way I could get myself around entrepreneurs was through podcasts, and we're so lucky to be able to get onto YouTube and podcasts and find and have access to entrepreneurs nowadays with a lot less difficulty than I had at the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the way society views the way we should progress up the corporate ladder, or maybe not the corporate world, but even kind of leave school, leave college, leave university or education, and then you go into a job and you work a job like a good member of society throughout the healthiest and best years, arguably, of your life, until you reach whatever the retirement age is going to be by the time we get there. And then you've built up your pot of money and you retire, and that's it. And I think that whilst that's fine for some people, the world has changed in recent years. I've noticed a huge shift just in the last few years of me being in that environment of 10 years working in the corporate world. And I think that a lot of people made the potential mistake of becoming so specialized and reliant on a job and adapting that employee mindset that when they then ultimately get let go by a company because they're no longer required, because AI comes along or they're made redundant or whatever happens, their job is taken offshore, they are left without a skill set and they're left without a purpose or a backup plan. So I think that one of the best skills you can develop is the ability to create and run your own business, because people can't take that away from you. Because even if the business fails, you can build another one. You prove that you can do it. So that's something that I think is a big risk. The other risk is that you spend a lifetime working that keeps you away from the people that you love, your friends, your family, spending time traveling and enjoying experiences with the people that matter most in your life. So for me, I know it was personally a huge motive of mine to build this business, and probably for you as well, I imagine, James, it was to get around other people who also wanted to create a better life, not just for themselves, but for their friends, their families, their loved ones, because that ultimately is one of the most enjoyable aspects of running a business like this. It's being able to enable others to have freedom, not just yourself.
Absolutely. And that's a strong reason why we start these businesses, is to improve our lives and also to improve the lives of our families. And we're putting together this podcast, and the information within it is all related to that burning desire that we had when we initially started to really improve our lives and the lives of our families. And we want to allow that for everyone listening today as well. So when you're looking around and want to start a business, and perhaps you followed society's path, it's difficult to see where to start. And when you look around, you look at perhaps the news that's around you, surrounding you on social media or the news channels, it's always a scarcity mindset. And you're being reminded or being told that there's not enough out there, there's not enough success for everyone. But in fact, it's the complete opposite. There's an abundance available of success for everyone who goes after it. And so we want to make sure we get that point across and share that with people, so they know that they can also succeed as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I've now, over the last few years in my transition into entrepreneurship, I've witnessed what's possible and the possibilities. Like, I've seen people who are succeeding to a level beyond comprehension that I would have had before. And I think that when you're in the world of work and you're kind of told that this is the route you go on, when you then meet others who are like, no, I'm making what you used to make in a year, in a month, and I don't have to leave my house to do it, or I can do it from a beach in Bali, it completely shatters any limiting belief or glass ceiling that you had, and you realize, wow, that's incredible. And so that's cool. That opens your mind to it. And that's one of the things that I want to help the old me. If you're listening to this now and you're in the position that we were in prior to starting these businesses, and you're maybe commuting to work, or you're dreaming of being able to have that location, financial freedom, sometimes you need to hear it from people that are already there in order to put yourself in that position and be like, no, I could do this. This isn't just something that people on the internet do, or that people that I see, in a magazine, entrepreneur magazine or whatever do. It's something that day-to-day people are making happen. And you don't have to become a multi-millionaire to succeed. If you make, $100 grand a year and you run an online business, for a lot of people, that's enough. That's okay. And that's a few orders a day probably with an e-commerce business like this with high tickets. So it's there. And I think the other thing is, and the other reason why I felt it was important to create this podcast, is I find it incredibly rewarding helping people make that leap, that transition, because it's scary. And I so nearly didn't do it myself. And had I not had things like podcasts and online programs and stuff where I could surround myself with a community of people who are already a few steps beyond where I am, I think I would have been too fearful to take a step into the unknown.
So we plan to release these episodes on a weekly basis. They'll be available on your favorite podcast platforms such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We also record these videos, so you've got the opportunity to watch us, our talking faces at the same time as well. They'll be uploaded to our YouTube channel as well.
So however you are choosing to listen to us, make sure you either subscribe to the podcast if you're listening to us on a podcast, or if you are going to watch us on YouTube, then make sure you subscribe to our channel as well so you don't miss a video.
So each episode, we'll be diving into the step-by-step tactics that you need to follow to grow your own business. And we'll cover topics that include learning which products to sell, so which niche to go into, which niches can be profitable for you. And then once you've got that, really how to actually get started and implement that and get started to sell these products.
Yeah, we'll even be guiding you through how to set up your own profitable e-commerce store. So we'll show you how to build a website. And even if you say, I'm not a tech person, that kind of stuff scares me, I promise you, it's not as hard as you think, and we'll show you how we've both been able to do it. We'll also cover how we go about using our home turf advantage model to find and then sign UK-based suppliers. So that's suppliers who can offer next day delivery to your customers. So no more waiting for 30 days for your products to be delivered from a supplier coming from China. We'll show you the home turf advantage model that we're using every day in the UK. Then once you have your website set up, you have your suppliers signed, you've chosen your niche, you're going to need some customers and need some sales, right? So we'll show you how we're driving traffic to these websites profitably to make consistent sales. So that's like driving visitors to your store to see if they'll then want to purchase the products. And when they do, you make the profit, and that's how the business operates consistently. And then after you're making consistent sales, we'll show you how to go about hiring a virtual assistant. So somebody who can take on the day-to-day tasks within your store. Following that, you'll want to try and automate as much of it as you possibly can so that you get back your time freedom. Now, with that time that a business like this affords you, you can choose what you do with it, whether you choose to travel the world and live a location-independent lifestyle with this type of business, or if you just want to spend time doing more of what you enjoy, your hobbies, or spending time with loved ones and family. That's the kind of freedom that this business will give you. And some people will be fine at just operating a location-independent business that brings them £100,000 a year and replaces their salary. But if you're even more driven and ambitious than that, and for you really want to turn this into a 7-figure business, then we can even show you how to do that.
We'll also be answering your questions and recording some Q&A sections of the podcast as well. So if you've got some questions that you want to ask, perhaps about getting started in an e-commerce business, then get your questions into us and we'll make sure to answer your questions on the podcast episode very shortly. As well, we'll be sharing your success stories. So we'll make sure to be asking in future podcast episodes for you to share some success, and we can get those and shout you out on the podcast episodes as well. So with that said, this is your chance now. So what burning questions do you have on your mind about e-commerce and growing an online business? Send in your questions or topic suggestions to podcast@dropshipunlocked.com. So email us, it's podcast@dropshipunlocked.com. Think about what burning question do you have on your mind that you want to ask to myself and Lewis. Email those in and we'll be answering those on a podcast episode very soon.
Yeah, so I mean, if you would like to start your own high-ticket dropshipping business in the UK, working with UK suppliers, offering next-day delivery on products to your customers in the UK, using our unique home turf advantage mechanism that we use at Dropship Unlocked, then head over to dropshipunlocked.com/free for a free training video that guides you through the full process in a lot more detail than we can ever do on one of these shows.
Exactly. Thank you very much for listening to today's episode. Hope you enjoyed. If you have done, go ahead and click the subscribe button wherever you listen to this podcast, and also subscribe on the YouTube channel. And we're looking forward to answering your questions in the next few episodes.
Yep, so I can't wait to be sharing the tips and tricks that both James and I have picked up along our own e-commerce journeys in building our businesses and sharing them directly with you so that you can build a online e-commerce business that gives you the ultimate time, location, and financial freedom. So until then, take care and join us again soon.